here on iLive Radio with The Flashback Show, changing the way you listen to music.
Yeah, iLive Radio.
The Flashback Show, across the World Wide Web.
iLive Radio.
The days when the nights we young.
Ray Hendricks welcoming you wherever you may be to Slipping Into Darkness at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time each and every Wednesday on iLive Radio. I guarantee a selection of superfine jazz and insightful conversations with my special guest. Keep it locked to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Welcome to iLiveUK. This is Deep Sound here, telling you to tune in to the Beats and Bass Show every Tuesday, 9 to 11, showcasing the best in 140, dubstep and grime, and sometimes going across the board, featuring guest mixers, artists, and guest DJs. So tell a friend, every Tuesday, 9 to 11, Beats and Bass Show on iLiveUK, changing the way you listen to music.
You're listening to Shay Boogie DJ.
On the house that Boogie built.
Playing bangers after bangers after bangers. Hold on, did I mention he'll be playing bangers?
Each and every Friday from 9 to 11 p.m. right here on iLive UK, changing the way you listen to music.
iLive UK want to hear from you. You can get in touch by calling us on 0208 638 8503, or you can send a WhatsApp message, text only, to 07564 265 257. You can watch us live on Twitch and Mixcloud, and whenever you miss a show, you can listen back via our podcast page at iLiveUK.com. Don't forget to download our iLive Radio Network app from the Google Store and take us on the road with you. It's iLive UK across all platforms, changing the way you listen to radio.
iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
You feel your body like me, baby. Well, hear me now. She tell me when it come to walk up waist and fling down how she bad. I hold she by she hips and tell she tonight I'm your camera. You playing bad girl, I'm a bad man, I'm a bumper criminal. You make me be up my behavior, stink and what's down animal. So baby, see it, Pamela. See it, Pamela. Annuale, balance mate, annuale. See baby, annuale, balance mate, annuale. Cock back, bend your back, give me back shot. Walk that, walk it up, my girl, don't stop. I want to hook up on you like a handbag strap. Over there, then a pelting ball on you like a cricket, baby girl. How you walk one so like you're bad? Tell me no man. Well, if you're bad, show me. Come, walk it, baby. Bounce, balance, party. Go down, sit down, panic, don't panic. You're playing mad. Well, I go show you who my man. Oh, brave girl. Come, walk it, baby. Bounce, balance, party. Go down, sit down, panic, don't panic. She tell me when it come to walk up waist and fling down how she bad. I hold she by she hips and tell she tonight I'm your camera. You playing bad girl, I'm a bad man, I'm a bumper criminal. You make me be up my behavior, stink and what's an animal. So baby, see it, Pamela. See it, Pamela. Annuale, balance mate, annuale. See baby, annuale, balance mate, annuale. Vroom vroom, kick, girl come let me ride you. I want charge up under you like a rhino. Spread the legs, party, let me read the thing like a Bible. Calm yourself, you know about that talent, what you and I know. Baby girl, how you walk one so like you're bad. Well, if you're bad, show me. Come, walk it, baby. Bounce, balance, party. Go down, sit down, panic, don't panic. You're playing mad. Well, I go show you who my man. Oh, brave girl. Come, walk it, baby. Bounce, balance, party. Go down, sit down, panic, don't panic. She tell me when it come to walk up waist and fling down how she bad. I hold she by she hips and tell she tonight I'm your camera. You playing bad girl, I'm a bad man, I'm a bumper criminal. You make me be up my behavior, stink and what's an animal. So baby, see it, Pamela. See it, Pamela. Annuale, balance mate, annuale. See baby, annuale. Virgin Islands, Dominican crew.
nobody. We don't check in nobody. We out on the road. Me and my woman alone on the road. And we don't check in nobody. We don't check in nobody. We out on the road. You see me, I'm a one woman man. And when we out on the road, it's me and my woman. It's me and my woman alone. It's me and my woman alone. You see we don't follow no camp. Don't patrol with no man. It's me and my woman. It's me and my woman alone. It's me and my woman alone. This carnival you could pass me straight. I'd appreciate all the hellos and the highs. Save them for a later date. I'm focused on the wine. It's about me and about mine. Right now it's our time. Me and my woman alone on the road. And we don't check in nobody. We don't check in nobody. We out on the road. Me and my woman alone on the road. And we don't check in nobody. We don't check in nobody. We out on the road. You see me, I'm a one woman man. And when we out on the road, it's me and my woman. It's me and my woman alone. It's me and my woman alone. You see we don't follow no girl. Don't patrol with no man. It's me and my woman. It's me and my woman alone. It's me and my woman alone. All kind of photos in the place. All business outside. I have my dignity. Plus my woman is my pride. All sides will have to flee. My girl I'll publicize. My love will never hide. This carnival you could pass me straight. I'll appreciate all the yellows and the eyes. Save them for a later date. I'm focused on the wine. It's about me and about mine. Right now is our time. Me and my woman alone on the road. And we don't check in nobody. We don't check in nobody. We out on the road. Me and my woman alone on the road. And we don't check in nobody. We don't check in nobody. We out on the road. You see me, I'm a one woman man. And when we out on the road, it's me and my woman. It's me and my woman alone. It's me and my woman alone. You see we don't follow no gang. Don't patrol with no man. It's me and my woman. It's me and my woman alone. It's me and my woman alone.
Hello, hello, hello. I hope everyone can hear me. If you can hear, if you can see, whatever, just say hello to Keisha and I. This is the 3rd episode of the Dominican Emz Show. So welcome, hi. Bienvenue. So Keisha, hello, hello.
Hello, my darling.
Hello. So to anyone, before we get started, I'll just tell everybody what they can expect today. So in terms of music, it's a bit of everything, if I'm honest with you. So it could be like a little bit of R&B, could be a little bit of pop, could be a little bit of Chaz and Dave, potentially, maybe not, may or may not. But it's going to be heavy, heavy, heavy on the Caribbean music.
Okay.
So heavy, heavy on the Caribbean music, heavy on the soca, heavy on the dance hall, because that is my vibe. But I'm born and raised in London, but obviously I listen to different things. In terms of music policy, that's what you should expect. We will be going through topics. My beautiful guest today is Keisha Buchanan, and she always laughs at how I pronounce her surname, and she's trying to mug me off and not do that right now. But basically... But we're really like happy to have you here today, Kish. So thank you very much. But in terms of what you can expect today in the show, a mix of chat, a mix of hot topics, news, UK, international and the Caribbean. And we're going to have music from here, there and everywhere, but heavy, heavy, heavy on the Caribbean. So Keisha, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here. I'm super, super proud of you as well.
Thank you.
Like, honestly, like this.
I love you for always gassing me.
No, I always do, because I think
you always
like
do. Actually, she does.
This is like so your thing. I'm
Thank you.
Super
I actually paid her £10 to say this.
15. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So yeah. So. Just before we get started as well, I think it'll be really good to just say some of the songs that we just played. For anybody that just heard the introduction, we had some boyo sound. So there was one Vincey track, and there's an artist by the name of Wetty Beats. Keisha, say that for me.
You're really rude.
I know.
It's my accent. Wetty beat.
It's perfect. Okay. Do I sound any different? And he has Sape Mele, and he's from St. Vincent, and the song's a Bouillon song. And then we went into The Sound of the Bouillon from Dominica with Colton Tea with One Woman. And that was pretty ironic because in Dominica, I don't know if they know how to have one woman. But anyway, it's really cute. I think that was really nice. It's really catchy. And Dominica Carnival 2020, it was like one of their songs. But, you know, goals. Okay, whatever. Asa Bannon and Ede with Bounce It. And Asa Bannon, again, the Bouillon Boss with Move.
Yes.
So, guys, for anybody that wants to speak to Keisha and I today, if you want to participate, if you want to like... Okay, so I should tell you actually, we are visual, we are live on Mixcloud and Twitch, and you can go on there, you can leave your messages as well in the forums. If you just want to listen, because maybe you're like, you know, cleaning or doing whatever you're doing, looking after the kids, you can go on iLiveUK, and I'm just going to read out the numbers, and you can just take part today. I want you to be a part of today's show. I want you to let us know what you think, let us know if you've got any questions, qualms. If it's weird or awkward, I'm not going to read it out. I'm going to be honest with you. And yeah, let's just get started. So if you want to have a look at the website, it's iLiveUK.com. And that's iLiveUK.com. If you want to call in today, it's 0208 638 8503. 0208 638 8503. Again, anything weird, awkward, I'm not going to answer. I'm just going to put it down, and it is what it is. And then if you want to WhatsApp, again, no pictures, text only. And again, please try not to be weird today because I can't deal with you people. It is 07564 265 257. And again, if you want to WhatsApp, it's 07564 265 257. And if you're kind of like old school and you want to do an email, maybe that's your thing. You can go iLiveUK at iLiveRadio.com. And again, that's iLiveUK at iLiveRadio.com. So, guys, let's get started. And I think it would be good to mention some of the things that we've got going on as well. So for anybody that's looking to go out next week, we have the event Padisa, and yeah.
Is that like soca?
It is. It's kind of like specific. It's kind of like for everybody, but it's a type of soca. Okay. So you know I'm from Dominica, Keish.
Yes.
I don't know if I've mentioned that.
You definitely made it obvious.
So we're gonna play like heavy on the bouillon, which is like kind of French, Caribbean, Creole music, okay. But we play a bit of everything, and that's going to be on Boxing Day, the 26th of December at Windrush Bar in Stoke Newington, 184 Stoke Newington High Street, between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. If anybody's looking for a motive after Christmas, if you've been eating a lot and you just feel like, do you know what, I think I need to work it off, or if you just want to hear some good music, good vibes, then my DJs, DJ Sweetness, Digga D, Mr. Mention, and Andre Drizzy Freckles, they will be down there, and we will like be playing the best of bouillon and a little bit of everything else. So yeah, and just to reiterate as well, just for anybody that's listening, we are live each and every Saturday between 2 and 4 p.m. Each and every Saturday between 2 and 4 p.m.
Start tuning in then.
Yeah, you better.
Yeah, of course.
You better. And we're going to go into an interview with Keisha shortly. So if you've been living under a rock, or if you've suffered with a coma for like the last 25 years, you might not know who she is. Otherwise, I think most people know who Keisha is. And Keisha is a talented singer, songwriter, and much more. So you vlog, you're a vlogger, mm-hmm. You do acting.
Yes.
And much more, which we'll delve into later. Yes. If you've got any comments or questions for Keisha, then if you can let us know via the studio numbers, which I mentioned earlier. And I'll just say some of them again. So you can message us via Twitch and via Mixcloud, where we're streaming live. Or you can go through the live feed where we're at as well. And you can just leave your questions and your commentary for us, and we'll try and read out everything for you. So, Keish, how are you today?
I'm good. Christmas is always that time of year where you kind of, it gets you in that sort of spirit and stuff. So,
yeah.
You know, I love Christmas movies. That's my thing. I definitely started watching it from September.
Really?
So yeah. Oh, I'm Mother Christmas, like quite literally.
Do you feel quite Christmassy?
It's a bit of a weird Christmas this year.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, yeah.
Because we've had a lot going on this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
For more than a few reasons.
Yeah. A lot of us, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to touch on that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, Keisha, I asked you to pick a few songs for us.
Yes.
So what I might or might not have done is put the 3 songs that you picked for us, and maybe I might or might not have added one of my cheeky songs in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to let those songs play.
Okay.
I actually think you've got amazing choices, and afterwards we will touch on why you picked some of those songs, because I think they're beautiful songs and they're really powerful as well.
Yeah.
And knowing you, I think there's a reason why you picked all of those songs.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, guys, let's get started.
Let me be your woman. I can be your woman. Let me be your woman.
kind of talks about people pitting people against each other, but just being, do you know what, I'm just not having a bar, in my own words. And she was kind of more like unity and sisterhood, because there's more power in that than being divisive and we're all separate. And that I liked.
Yeah.
Because I think being like, let's be honest, Keisha is a friend of mine. Keisha is a close friend of mine. That's one thing that I take away from our friendship, is like a realness and a sisterhood and support as well. So I when you picked that song, I did understand why. And then you had Summer Walker with X for a Reason.
Yep. I think I feel like that applies to the men and female, to be honest with you, because there are certain times we get into our comfortability.
This is very diplomatic.
That's a good thing about being a Libra. We are very diplomatic. But I feel like I feel like it's easy kind of to go back to what you're used to. And I think that...
And we don't do sloppy seconds.
No, I mean, like, sloppy, you know. No, I think it's important just to, you know, be progressive, move forward, and the past is in the past. So yeah, like that song, like the message.
And it was from her brand new album. I can't remember the name of the album.
Still Over It.
But it's amazing, right?
I love that album.
I think I was there for all of it until she got Larry tattooed on her face, and then I was like, oh,
Things we do for
girl.
love. Have you ever had a tattoo of a guy's name? Have you ever been that much in love before?
Well, I thought I was, but obviously not, because they're not here now. Thank you, God, Jesus, Buddha, whoever it was.
So you didn't get the tattoo?
No, but nearly. And I think I was about 20-something. So it's like infatuation.
Yeah, I almost got a name, but instead we got the words love as matching tattoos.
But I think our ancestors knew not to let us be mugged off. And I think that was the main overriding thing, that we didn't actually pull through with that. Because can you imagine, like...
Oh, I was all for it. But to be honest with you, I think the only reason why I ended up not doing it was because I was trying to get the name and he was trying to get like something else. And I was like, oh, okay, shame. So let's try this again. So,
well, he sounds like a loser.
He could be listening. We're cool.
Hi, Mr. Loser. This is the Dominican Emz Show, here with you every Saturday between 2 and 4 p.m.
Her words, her words.
And then we may or may not have had a song that I picked, which was SZA, I Hate You. And it's like one of those times, yeah, Keish, it was gone viral on TikTok.
Okay.
And that's where I'm not on TikTok, but TikTok is that powerful that I've heard the song via TikTok, and it's got millions and millions and millions of streams.
That's how I heard the Doja song.
Yeah?
TikTok. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Why did you choose that?
The song's called I Hate You.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually hate anybody. And you know me, Kish, I don't actually hate. If anything, I'll just cut you off. But I don't hate anybody. But there was just something about it that was just so tongue-in-cheek and so sarcastic. I think it just resonated with me.
Okay.
And I think most people don't get how sarcastic I am, and they take me quite literally. But there was something about it that was really playful and sarcastic.
Yeah. Which is basically a huge part of your personality.
Correct.
That's what I love about you.
Yeah, but it's just weird, Keish, how people don't get it. They literally think I'm being literal all the time.
That's probably because they don't have like
a sense of humour.
There we go.
There you go. And then last but not least, we had Corinne Hawthorne. This song was beautiful. You've introduced me to this song. The artist name was Corinne Hawthorne. I saw the video as well. A beautiful girl.
You know, she's like, when she recorded that, she's like 17 or 18.
Is it?
Huge voice, yeah.
So where's she getting all this from at 17?
It's a blessing. Clearly, it's a God-given talent.
Because I felt it when she was singing.
Yeah. I feel like, again, it's an empowerment song, but it's faith-based. And I think a lot of the times we approach gospel music like it's like dry and it's boring. Even like there's so many, there's hip-hop, there's R&B. And I just love it. And I think it's good to have the balance of like the message of Jesus as well as just like making
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I think we need to reiterate that, because the song was called Won't He Do It, which is a gospel song. And I think my main takeaway is what you just said, that gospel comes in many, many forms. But if you're not familiar with gospel, you just think it's like, you know, church on a Sunday, maybe like older people. But no, it actually caters to many different genres, many different styles.
Yeah.
And what made you pick that song?
So obviously, if anyone's close to me, they'll know that, like, you know, my faith is really important to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not a religious person, but I definitely, you know, believe in, you know, Jesus and, you know, us basically having been saved through our faith, not works. That makes sense.
But you're quite vocal about that, though, and how it's helped you in your life as well.
Oh, yeah. I'd be totally ratchet and I would have fallen up like the calmness that you see in me, or the growth that I am, it's literally based upon my faith 100%. Yeah.
That's powerful. So before I move on, can I just touch on some news really quickly? It is 2:36. I'm conscious of time. We're going to be interviewing Keish shortly, but I just want to really, really quickly run through some news this week. Keish may or may not answer, because unlike me, who can say whatever I like, there might be people who might take what I say and add it to my Keish. So I'm just going to talk and Keish will smile politely. But in UK news, Omicron, or Omarion, as black people have affectionately named it, has been the top story this week with much uncertainty. A reported increase in the number of cases meant that Boris addressed the nation this week and to inform us that the 2 doses of the vaccine that many people have had might not be enough, and they actually think that people will need a 3rd and further dose. Thoughts?
I mean,
it's hard, isn't it?
It's a really hard situation.
It changes every day.
Yeah, I'm not anti-vax, but also
neither am I.
This is such a new thing, so I feel like I can understand why people are a bit scared.
Can I be honest? I'm not vaccinated, but I'm not anti-vax. So I just think people should make their own choices and do what feels right for them.
Yeah, it's a really tricky one. It really is.
Yeah. And we had Cargo, the nightclub. Have you ever been to Cargo, Keish?
No.
Keish is actually like a nice girl, so she probably hasn't been there. So Cargo, for anybody that doesn't know, is a nightclub that's in Shoreditch, and it lost its license this week after a failure to tackle crime, not inside but outside the venue. When I was looking on the blogs as well, I think the common theme was as well that they'd be mugging people off with the prices of their drinks, and £20 is what you'd get for a double. So yeah, violence in all different forms is what we were seeing.
You're so funny. I cannot.
Also in news this week, undercover reporters showed us footage of the delivery company Hermes playing football with our packages and then dashing them everywhere and anywhere but our address. Keisha, did you see that?
I saw that.
Were you surprised though?
Yeah, no, I was.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
The way they were throwing it around, that is crazy to me. That's crazy.
When you see, okay, say for example, I'm not going to say like the vendor or the supplier, but when you see, okay, either DPD, Hermes,
right,
DHL, when you see Hermes, does your heart not sink to your belly? For me, it does. Cause I'm like, I'm not getting this. I'm like, I'm either getting a refund or my package is going to go to Kazakhstan because it's not coming to me.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No. I don't get that. I don't get that at all.
Yeah, I find you're being polite.
No, I really don't. I've actually had good experiences, apart from the times
She's
like
lying.
if I'm like trying to do order from overseas, like if I'm in Canada or something.
Yeah, I find
that's the only time I get like dodgy.
So you've never had any problems with Hermes?
No.
I find she's lying.
No.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. Also this week we had Lewis Hamilton. He had like a mixed bag of the week. He received his knighthood, which is a major positive. Mm-hmm. But then he also lost the crown to the world champion at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And I have to read that correctly because I'm kind of a fan, but I'm not really well too informed. So you guys will have to hit me up in the comments with your thoughts. But we all know that Lewis is somebody that is like really advocated for like black people, and he's really advocated for, and he's like a proud Grenadian. The same way I have my Dominican flag, he has his Grenadian flag. And I know he's mixed in terms of heritage, but I really love that about him, that his culture, his heritage in a area that is very white, without mincing my words, he's unapologetic in terms of like saying who he is and how he feels. I've liked that about him.
He's really been speaking up a lot recently.
Yeah,
issues and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. So on top of that, it was just like, but what I liked was that a lot of people just like bounded around him and were just like, no, you're still our champion. Yeah,
and he's done enough.
He's done enough.
That, but yeah.
And we'll touch on this in more detail later on in the show. But in Caribbean news, St. Lucia announced that Vaxxed Mass is happening for 2022. So Keish, basically Carnival 2022 in St. Lucia, they've labelled it Vaxxed Mass. So basically you can attend Carnival in St. Lucia in 2022, but you have to be like double vaccinated.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're not vaccinated, you can't attend. So
but is the Carnival in St. Lucia where it's at though?
I've been to it twice. I thought it was amazing.
Okay, better than Barbados?
I've done Barbados. They're so different. And you met me when we was doing Jamaica Carnival as well. I've done that twice as well. My favourite out of the three, St. Lucia.
Wow, okay.
But I have a bit of bias because they're Creole, like Dominica. There's like the kind of brother-sister relationship between the islands. So when the people are speaking, when they're doing what they're doing, there's like, I feel like literally that's it. Literally.
Okay.
Yeah, literally. So that is your news, UK, international and Caribbean. Before we go any further, I'm just going to go and play a few songs for you today. Let's just get going.
Watching your things, so you want to show out. They can't talk to me. Guardian angels watch over me. Every morning I kneel down and pray for my family. Look, I say, you want to show out. No bad company could take away what you give to me. When I see negative energy, I go the next way. Now, bad mind, I don't know. Send you, but tell them you will see me now. You see me now. You see me now. Envious people, I beg you please. When you see me, don't see me now. Don't see me now. Don't see me now. Don't see me now. Well, everybody put your hand in the air. In the air. I said, Jah, have a big plan for it. Rock in the air. Hand in the air. Yeah. Well, everybody put your hand in the air. In the air. I said, Jah, have a big plan for it. Hand in the air. Rock in the air. Yeah. Say everything I have, I work for it. 'Cause my family must live. And everything I have, them benefit. 'Cause that's how we just live. Tell them, nobody try stop my shine. Nobody try take my light. Tell them, I'm gifted by the Most High. 2019 is mine. But you want to show out. They can't talk to me. Guardian angels watch over me. Every morning I kneel down and pray for my family. Look, I say, you want to show out. No bad company could take away what you give to me. When I see negative energy, I go the next way. Now, bad mind, I don't know. Send you, but tell them you will see me now. You see me now. You see me now. Envious people, I beg you please. When you see me, don't see me now. Don't see me now. Don't see me now. Yeah. When everybody put your hand in the air. In the air. I said, Jah, have a big plan for it. Rock in the air. Hand in the air. Yeah. When everybody put your hand in the air. In the air. I said, Jah, have a big plan for it. Hand in the air. Rock in the air. Yeah. Oh, Jah, Jah. Hear me, Jah, Jah. Give me.
Guys, welcome back. That was Voice with Alive and Well. I played that on behalf of Keisha. Not Keisha that's in the studio, but Keisha in Toronto. She has been listening each and every week, and we just went to play that for her. So if you don't... Hi, Keisha.
Hi, Keisha.
So if you're not familiar with the song, like the lyrics are like, you're alive and well. Thank God I'm alive and well. And it's like, bad mind can't bother me. And I can't say it the way he does, but I like what he's saying, because it's like, if you're blessed, basically. And it's one of those songs on the Osaka rhythm where you just like, you feel good.
Yes.
And it's like a positive affirmation of what we think, how we need to be, etc., etc.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a positive song. It reminds me of like gospel music in terms of the positive message, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So my guest today, if you haven't noticed, is the beautiful Keisha Buchanan. Keisha is famous for...
being in...
I put you on the spot there.
It's so awkward to say. See, I'm still not even used to it myself. So I'm, I guess, known for being in one of the UK's biggest girl bands. called the Sugababes.
Yeah. So Keisha is one of the founding members of the Sugababes, and Sugababes, correct me if I'm wrong, Keisha, she started in 1998.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and your founding members were Mucha and Siobhan.
Yes.
But you guys, there's been like a number of lineup changes which have been reported in the media, good, bad and indifferent. But Sugababes, as it stands now, you have the trademark, you have the name, and Sugababes is performing now as per the 3 original members of the band.
That's correct.
Yeah. So Keish, what's happening with the Sugababes? Are you guys performing this year? I know we've got like...
Yeah, so we basically first got back together, believe it or not, like 2014.
Yeah.
And then we created this album, which was super sick, but then it sort of like leaked and then we had a few issues. We actually first came out under the name MKS.
Yeah.
We dropped this sort of Kendrick Lamar mashup of his song Swimming Pools, and we had a song called Lay Down. So then we called it Lay Down in Swimming Pools. So we did that. And then we had a song called Flatline. And then we kind of went silent for a while because obviously our tracks leaked and we had to just sort of get back into the headspace. Plus sort out the name.
Yeah.
Because everyone was calling us Sugababes. So we were walking around calling ourselves MKS. And they were like, so
what
Sugababes,
was that like?
Hi. What, calling ourselves MKS?
Yeah.
Because
it's a strong brand.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that everyone knew our group just by our vocals. So if you hear a Sugababe song, you know it's us.
Yeah.
So every time like we would like create a track, they'd be like, oh, that's Sugababes. Like everyone ignored the name MKS. So it just made sense for us to come back and use it, which we have. And we just celebrated our 20th anniversary of the first album.
Yeah.
And we re-released that with some demos from when we were kids.
And it had the overload on there.
It had all the tracks literally that we did on that first album. But yeah, we've had a few lineup changes. But yeah, we're back to just being the originals, and we've got shows next year.
I think it's safe to say, and this is me saying this and not me putting words in your mouth or you saying it, you guys are the lineup that we all are familiar with.
I think people are familiar with the original and then with Heidi.
Correct. Yeah. Because what year did Heidi come through?
Heidi came through, I think it was 2002 maybe. Okay. And then we had like most of our commercial success with her.
Understand. Because you formed in 1998 and then just after that 2000 is when the album started to come out.
Yeah, so we had the first album, which was... And I really am so thankful for that album. Because of that album, we get a second chance because that was critical acclaim. We did things on the album that at the time girl bands weren't actually doing. It was like eclectic.
Give me an example. Like what?
It was just, first of all, we wrote the album ourselves. And I think being so young, I think we were 14 when we first came out. A lot of people would expect 14-year-olds to be like teeny bop sort of kind of music. Yeah. But actually, the first album was very like indie pop R&B. It was a fusion, and it was about teenage angst and depression and just all these things that we were feeling at the time.
Yeah, just growing up.
Yeah, so people really respected that, and that's why I feel like we had the second chance with Heidi after Siobhan had left because of the reputation of that album.
Understand.
Yeah.
So Keish, if I bring it back, one thing that I like to ask all my guests is like where it all began. Mm-hmm. So from what I understand, you're not Dominican.
No.
But you actually are London born to Jamaican parents.
Correct.
Jamaican on both sides?
Both sides.
And what part of London did you grow up in?
Northwest.
Which part?
So basically with all the moving around, so I've literally lived in Wembley and Sudbury and in Kingsbury. Spent my teen years in Kingsbury.
Okay, so you're proper Northwest girl.
Northwest all day, yeah.
And you... like we said, you're part of like British music history. So in terms of the band and what you guys have done, you have 6 number 1 singles, a few of which we'll play later in the show. You have 5 UK top 10 you've released 5 UK top 10 albums, 4 of which were certified platinum in the UK. You were nominated for 6 Brit Awards and you won the Best British Dance Act, and we'll put my teeth in 2003. So it's fair to say that you are one of the most successful British pop acts of the 21st century. Mm-hmm. How does it feel? Because I know you. How does it feel when people say that to you?
Same way that I don't know. It's obviously like a blessing. It feels really exciting, but I don't think you really get that when you actually live in the experience. It goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
But that's what you want to do. You want to make waves, like, you know, when you come into an industry like this. And so I'm super proud of us.
Yeah, and I'm proud of you too.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm proud of you too. Not just because we're friends, but just because of what I've seen you doing. And then we're going to touch on it a little bit later, but you kind of get monikered with the Black Sugababes, whatever that means. And it's an awkward phrase to me, but you've kind of embraced it. And in the 2 years that we've had, and talking about the black experience in the entertainment industry, you have been very vocal. And I think you'll be quite inspirational to a number of people who are coming up as well. So we'll touch on that a little bit later. So, quick question.
Yes.
So this year we've got mugged off, obviously, with COVID.
Yes.
And you guys are performing. You guys, it's yourself, Mucha, Siobhan. You're performing as the Sugababes. What's happening at the moment? And what have you got lined up next year? Because I'm pretty sure I read that there's quite a few festivals that you guys are booked in for, like some major ones.
Yeah, so we are headlining the Mighty Hoopla Festival. We also are doing a Victorious Festival with Stereophonics, and then we're doing the Colour Box Festival. And what's interesting is that it's kind of the Victorious Festival is more indie.
Okay.
And obviously then there's the Colour Box, which is more eclectic. And then Mighty Hoopla is like pop festival.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because in terms of genres of music, you guys are kind of cross-genre as well, isn't it? In terms of music that you guys release and your 6 number ones.
Yeah, they were really different.
They get labelled pop, but generally they're kind of across the board. You've got R&B in there. You've got indie.
We were like performing at the Mobos, which is, you know, it's like it's the
obviously
show for black music. So we've done the Mobos, and then we've done the Brits. And then we do like all the sort of like pop smash hits type of like back in the day, those kind of shows as well.
Smash hits.
Do you remember Oh my God.
I've
got some stories about those
I've
tours.
not heard about smash hits. My older sister was telling me about that.
Whatever. Your older sister.
I'm older than you, Kish.
Well.
Of course I remember. And Tell Me the Pops on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So you guys have got quite a few things lined up. It's just with everything changing every day, we just hope that everything progresses as normal. It's just like with me and the event that I've got next week, we really can't judge things until they happen, isn't it?
That's true.
But we're here and we give thanks for everything that we've got each and every day and the people around us.
Absolutely.
So one thing that I touched upon earlier was just you being labelled, and tell me if you don't feel comfortable with this, because, you know, I want you to be quite frank, the Black Sugababe.
Interestingly, I label myself that because I did a video. So I've got a YouTube channel, as you know.
Yeah.
And
what's your YouTube channel called?
Literally Keisha Buchanan.
Nice.
But I did a video about my experiences in the Sugababe, and it's actually called the Black Sugababe. And no one ever really labelled me that as such, but I felt like
they kind of did
behind my back then. But I feel like because of everything that's happened with, you know...
but you're more than that. But I know people are kind of like...
Yeah.
And maybe it's a Caribbean thing. Sorry to interject, but we like to describe people with what they see. So it might be Sally with the Big Foot. It might be Keisha the Black Sugababe. It might...
Yeah. But again, I feel like it became more prominent for me to actually, I guess, embrace that way. Like,
because you are a proud black woman.
I'm definitely black and I'm definitely Sugababe. So there we go.
And you're proud.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So you did the documentary. Was it filmed 2020, but it came out 2021?
Which, the one with Leanne?
Yeah, Leanne Pinnock, and she's of
Little Mix.
And it was with yourself.
Yes.
Alexandra Burke, Nayo, if I pronounce that correctly, and Ray. And you all kind of spoke about your experiences in the industry of racism and colorism. And I watched it when it came out, and I watched it again recently. And my main takeaway was, you can't really label everybody's experience the same. Like, we all have an understanding that colorism and racism is horrendous, but all of our experiences have been different as well.
Very different.
How did you find it?
I think, like, you know...
And how did they approach you? Sorry, I'm throwing like questions at you.
No, it's okay. Well, Leanne, I've known her for a little while, and she asked me to be a part of it, which I was really proud to be. And obviously my experiences have been very different. Obviously from a documentary, if no one's seen it, Leanne's experience was about she felt very different in among a group that was predominantly white. I know now that we know that one of the girls has mixed.
She is part Egyptian, isn't she?
Yeah, but she more so passes for
white.
For
let's be honest. This is a black-owned station. A lot of our listeners will be from different backgrounds. I think let's just be frank and say how we think and what we feel.
Well, that's her description. You know,
and she speaks about that really openly, isn't it?
Does.
And that whole kind of passing phenomenon and how that makes her feel uncomfortable because she, again, sounded proud of her heritage, but people might not associate her with that background.
No, absolutely. And I didn't. My experiences were completely different. And I don't know whether because even though Mutia, she's half white, half Filipino. Yeah. Mutia's like... She grew up black, basically.
I've not met her, actually.
Yeah, I know, that's crazy. You'd get along with her so much. But yeah, so my experience was very different. The fans have always embraced me. I've never felt the way that Leanne did. So when I was asked to actually be a part of the documentary, I think for me, my main objective was to make sure that little black girls watched the documentary and actually was like, because I've never experienced colorism.
Can I be honest? I've never experienced direct colorism, but I see it and I hear it in terms of people saying things but directed towards other people but not directed towards me.
Right, okay.
So they never go, Emma, you're too dark. And I'm a very dark-skinned black woman.
But how old... Okay, so for me, I came out of... We left school like when we were 13.
Yeah, it's different, right?
Yeah, and so for me, my experience was like, you're the black girl in the group in a positive way. And so for me, and also as well, in the 90s, the biggest... pop stars on the planet were all brown skin girls. Let's go through the list.
Brandy.
Lauryn Hill. There we go. Brandy. Mary J. Blige. You know, even when we looked at groups like TLC, you know, we had Chili in there, who was browner than the other girls.
Yeah.
So I had so
just
much...
a touch.
But when you look at all three...
They're all beautiful. Oh my God, TLC are one of my faves. I'm not cussing.
Yeah, but when you look at all three of them, there is like a stark
She's
difference
mixed heritage, but she's darker complected.
There we go. So for me, growing up as a young girl, I'm like, oh, she's the browner one and this. So I had so much representation. Not so much in the UK.
Yeah.
But in, you know, America. So that was the whole point of me doing the documentary, because I was like, we need to let these little girls know that actually you can be successful.
And we're coming up to the hour, so the ads are going to start in about 2 minutes, Kish. But let's talk about this, because I think what you go through growing up as well shapes you as well. So I think part of the reason why I wasn't as aware of colorism is because it wasn't something that I was made to feel different from by my mother and father at home. Wow. So it's obviously happening in and around me.
What about at school?
Again, I didn't notice it, but it's fully there. Colorism is a thing, and there's things that happen, like even now in terms of like sayings, songs, memes that happen in culture. And we're going to touch on this after the hour because the ads will start in a second, in about 30 seconds. But there's so many things that I could see, and again, it's probably like your experience where it's not necessarily my experience, but I didn't need to experience it to know that it fully is disgusting and the negative impact it has on our people as well, you know? So I think that was a really good documentary. And do you know what I liked about it as well? The optics of many different types of black women and their experience. Absolutely. I think that's really powerful, because if you're mixed heritage, if you are darker skinned, we had Alexandra talking about colorism, for example.
It's crazy. Her story was so upsetting.
It was so sad.
Yeah.
It was so sad. But again, powerful. So guys, we are just approaching the hour. You got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to iLive Radio.
This is Tiffany Michelle from Austin, Texas, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Peace, world. This is J Soul, a.k.a. the Black Sinatra, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
I said that I love you so, and I mean it so. From the bottom of my heart, I'm telling you to play. Baby, I saw that something in your eyes. Comes to no surprise that you turn me oh so giddy. What's up, people? This is Omar, and you're listening to iLive Radio,
changing the way you listen to radio.
Are you looking for that feel-good music? The kind of music that makes you want to share with your friends? Then you've been looking for iLive Radio, your #1 source for music lovers worldwide, playing a variety of hits from soul, reggae, gospel, jazz, hip-hop, funk, and everything in between. Download the iLive Radio app now and listen to us when you're on the go. Available on iTunes and the Google Play Store. You can also listen live on TuneIn and Alexa. iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.
Taxman here. I invite you to join me each and every Thursday right here on iLive Radio, where we give you the very best in independent and neo-soul flavors. We also feature the UK Top 20 Independent Soul Chart, counting you down from number 20 all the way down
song by Adina Howard. And, you know, sometimes on the underground scene, they do like mashups. So you have Eminem with, I don't know, Dr. Dre, and there's all these mashup songs, remixes. So back in like 2002, we were played a song that was literally Adina Howard's Freak Like Me with Our Friends Electric, which was a song by Gary Newman, huge song back in the day. And our A&R brought it to us and was like, yo, there's a song that's buzzing on the underground, like you guys should do it. And obviously we grew up with the song, the original, so we just went ahead and did it. And then it was our first #1 single, and it was with Heidi, who was at that time our new member of Sugababes. So we had a lot to prove, and it did extremely well for us, and kind of set the tone.
Why do you say you had a lot to prove?
Because we'd been dropped by a label. Not many people know this. So after that first credible album,
I'm your friend.
So after the first album, One Touch, me and Mutia were pretty much, Siobhan left. Me and Mutia were pretty much told, you're not going to do anything, and we got dropped from London Records.
Wow.
And so
and you'd been with them from the start.
We'd been with them from the start. So they dropped us and just basically we were left on our own. So when Heidi joined, you know, the one thing about us is that we weren't that smiley pop band, and that's what made us edgy. We weren't even deliberate. Our faces were just like resting bitch face. Heidi comes from Liverpool, smiley, everything else. So we got battered at first when she joined, because people were like, something's changed, it's never going to work. But it ended up working because she was just herself. We were all being authentic still. It was a very different lineup this time, more pop, I guess. But we proved, we had a lot to prove. And thankfully it turned out very well.
Okay. So you tell me what you're comfortable to talk with here, but we've seen like a few lineup changes.
Yeah.
How did that play out over the years? So would you be aware of them as they were happening, or was it after the fact?
Okay, so Siobhan chose to leave, and then obviously we were aware of that. And then when Mutia left, I guess when Siobhan left, none of us were in a good place. We were kids, you know.
And you guys started together, like you literally grew up together, no?
Me and Mutia, we did, yeah. I've been with Mutia since I was 8 years old, so we went to the same primary school, everything. That first lineup was a bit of a messy departure, but you know. And then with Mutia, she had a baby, she was kind of dealing with a lot of stuff, and she sat us down. That was better, I guess.
It's life, isn't it? Because you guys started really young.
Yeah, and she had just had a baby, and we were at the height of our career. But then obviously my departure was very controversial, because I wasn't actually even fired from the band. I was literally replaced while I was still in the band, and then I found out when everyone else found out.
So what do you mean? So you found out online like everybody else did, or in the newspapers?
Yeah, I found out when everyone else did.
Such a disrespect. Who do I need to fight?
I got a few names for you.
I'm coming. So go on. So tell us what happened there, because again, it's not a label that I would give you, but you will say the Black Sugababe. So when they were like, perceptions of turmoil, or, you know, instigations of things happening, people would have assumed it's you because you're black. Yeah. Or do you say that's used against you? How did that all work?
Well, definitely, I feel like in general, when you're in a girl band, I feel like, you know, boy bands can switch it up, can fight, can do whatever. But for some reason, women in general, we are judged very differently.
Yes.
I think it didn't help because I was never asked, and this was my biggest thing. No one ever asked sort of like, what happened, or what's, you know, it was very much like, oh, it must be her.
Got you.
Based upon speculation. But I've tried, like, I'm not a perfect person, but I definitely have tried to, had the utmost respect throughout my whole entire career.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think that with girl bands anyway, generally speaking, that is the dynamic that people see in terms of maybe one person is maybe portrayed in that way, but the fact that you are black, it was kind of more emphasised because, I don't know, you tell me.
But also as well, I think that there was a lot of pressure on me once Mutia left, because, you know, when Mutia was in the band, I feel like she got it a lot worse, you know.
Really?
100%, yeah. Than I did. I guess they were more targeting the way she looked and stuff. She was picked on constantly.
And when you say she was picked on, by who? The media, by fans?
By the media. It was quite hard on her. But then when she left, and then obviously it was just me, I feel like I took on a brunt of a lot of things. And obviously being sort of I guess when you're an original member, there's like, you know, an unspoken sort of weight that's put on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And even if you look back at the Destiny's Child days, that Beyonce was getting it a lot in the beginning, even when the two members left.
I remember that because do you remember they were saying there's favoritism from her father, who was obviously a part of like the band's management. They were saying, oh, she was jealous because of the way that one looked. And then when you hear the stories afterwards with Farah and etc., that's not the story that they tell. Is not the same story that we were kind of fed in the media.
Yeah, and not even the members actually said that. And it was interesting because even when I was like kind of taken out of the group, the word bully was thrown around a lot in the media.
That's a strong word.
But the girls never said that. And actually, they never really said anything other than like, we don't really want to talk about it, or whatever it was that they said at the time. So it was just interesting.
Was that more media driven? Because that's a strong word.
Yeah, but I'm also going to say that in terms of media, that there was probably people in-house that was, you know, wanted to save the reputation of the band, and obviously perpetuated that, you know, and us and me and the girls, I believe, were definitely played against each other at the time, for sure.
Yeah. Did that have an impact on you emotionally?
Oh my
Because were these people your friends as well, I'm guessing? I'm talking in the band and outside the band, because it's not just your band members, it's people you would be like dealing with on a day-to-day basis, no?
Well, I think the perception of when people are in a band, they see it as like, oh yeah, you're just in a bunch of girls that actually just, you know, you sing together. But actually, this is actually a business, like a company is set up. And when you're a founding member of a company and they just say, oh, by the way, we're taking over your company and you're over there, there's a lot of things that, you know, it does for you emotionally. That also was my identity for since the age of 11. And so it wasn't as easy for me to just hop back into real life. I didn't know how to be an adult. You know, I had handlers, everyone did everything for me. So it was hard. Set the
scene for me. You joined the Sugababes at what age?
So I was 12.
And then when 11. It all kind of went skew with the way that you were kind of exited out of the band, and not in a way that I think's okay, but it is what it is. How old were you then?
I think it was about 26.
Wow. So this is more than your formative years. This is like your teenage years and your adulthood as well.
Yeah. And just so we're clear, Emma, I've never opened a letter before in terms of, you know, a phone bill, nothing. I just had handlers. So literally, when you're ousted in that way, your identity's taken and everyone cuts you off. Your accountant, your lawyer, everything. And then you're on your own. But it has been the most beautiful journey. It's the hardest journey. But I've also found myself. And so that's the beauty of what God does. He allows certain things to happen because he has a bigger purpose for you.
And you've got other avenues.
So it's been hard. And I definitely still, I feel like dealing with the fallout, you know, legally from all of that. But, you know, we rise and we keep going.
You say that though, because I'm sure, was it a few years ago, you won, but because you were performing under Mucha Keisha Siobhan.
MKS.
Yes. And then you got the trademark back. How did that feel? Did that not feel like a momentous occasion to get? How does it all work?
So legally, obviously I have to try and dance around this, but legally we always were allowed to use the name.
Got you.
I always had the rights to use the name Sugababes, and there were certain people who were making it very difficult business-wise for us because, but we could always use the name. And then we just grew balls and was like, well, actually, we're going to use it. And that's what it was.
Okay. So there were more business decisions behind this as well, I'm assuming. If you can't go into the semantics, if you don't need to.
Well, I would just say that we could always use it. So a lot of people think, oh yeah, you got the name back. And it's like, we always had it, but we were obstructed. So I think that's the fair thing to say.
Okay. But you guys are performing again. We know you're the Sugababes. We're seeing you perform on TV internationally and concerts as well. What does it feel like to have your sisters back on the stage with you?
I think just like, I will always say that Mucha and Siobhan, we are each other's musical soulmates. When we go in the studio and we're writing our songs, it blends so quickly. And when we're doing our harmonies, what people mostly know us for, it's just like, it just blends. It's just, it feels very, very natural. So,
and you're a singer and a songwriter. Are the other girls singer-songwriters too?
They do, yeah.
Okay. So does that make the process easier because you all can kind of feed off of each other? How does it work?
Yeah, I guess so. It's kind of like, you know, there are some days where like some of us just, you know, like we lean off of each other. I think every lineup we have a different way of writing. Throughout all the Sugababe songs, we always wrote our verses individually, and didn't necessarily consult with each other. It was just like, but I feel like nowadays when we write together, we're more sort of like chipping in, helping each other, I guess.
You say it so nonchalantly, like everybody can just write music. Would you say amongst your peers, and you don't have to name names, is it common for them to be writing their music as well as performing?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the industry is like so different nowadays, but I think for us, that's been something that has kept us. And it's just about identity, because I don't think, for example, Rihanna writes her song, but her identity is so strong in who she is that like she doesn't really need to.
Got you.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's who she is. Like she embodies that. So I feel like as an artist, you have to be able to be authentically yourself, regardless if you write or not.
And that is what's going to resonate with people as well. Okay, so question for you, and I like to ask all of my guests, especially my musical guests, who are your inspirations? And I'm going to give you a couple caveats. They don't have to be in the music industry, and it can be any genre. Who would be the people in your life that have inspired you in your career?
In my career, okay, so like 3 things make me up. Obviously, there is like who I am as a person, woman, and then, you know, okay, so I would say growing up, Brandy was my biggest influence. Amazing. And a lot of people say that because of the singing side of things, and then they, you know, but it wasn't necessarily that. Obviously I loved her music, but it's what she represented to me. She was a triple threat. Acting, singing, performing, which are the 3 things that I love. And
she was so humble with it, but so uber talented. I think again, it sounds like you.
And it was how far she got with it as well. It was the success of it, and that for me was inspirational. Obviously, my mum is a massive inspiration to me, just on the faith tip. And,
hi, mummy.
On a faith tip, she's obviously, you know, without being like, she's always just been like solid, and has been like a prime example of just like keeping the faith. And then just like my friends, like people who continuously, you know, get through hard times, like all of my girlfriends, you know, you guys, even doing this, like you said before, this isn't something this is a passion of yours.
It's a passion, but I'm so new to this, so I'm like hoping that I don't press the wrong buttons. But
no, but that inspires me. That's so inspirational to me. Things like that make me feel like, okay, cool, I'll go to this audition, or because remember, I've always like tried something and then it's just like worked out. So when I get like a no in auditions, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go back home and I'm just gonna my mic my headphones.
It's cool.
But yeah, no, I'm always like, you know, nervous, but then I see you doing this and I'm like, no, you can go back up and you can try again. So you're
But I think it goes vice versa. I think I've got like a good tribe around me, yourself included, who'll be like, Emz, just try. The worst that can happen is it doesn't work at the end of the day. But
it's better that you try than not at all.
Better that I try, and people know what my passions are. And I think when you pursue things that are your passion, like you and the acting, for example, and me and just anything to do with like Caribbean culture, I think it does resonate with people because it's coming from like a genuine place and not just a place of marketing. Even though we like marketing and we understand it, like, you know, it actually comes from a genuine place. So I think, like yourself, your tribe around you will support you in that fact as well. So talking of tribes, has that been quite important to you this year? Because Keish, you have had an interesting year, for want of a better phrase.
Yeah. So elephant in the room. My dad died. My dad died 5 months ago, and you know because how difficult it was, and it's really hard. You can relate. You obviously lost your dad too.
Yeah.
You know, it was really unexpected, and he's super young, so that was really hard.
How old was Daddy?
Dad was a 58-year-old who looked about
25.
I was going to say 39, but yeah, he, you know, it was, and he was really popular, life of the party. That was difficult, but again, during those moments, you know, you know who your friends are, and you know, people rally around. And actually, I got so much comfort out of people who would message me on Instagram who had lost a parent, because only those who know. Biggest heartbreak ever.
Yeah, same. And I won't go into it too much. My dad passed away when I was a teenager. I'm 40 years old, as you know. That still breaks my heart to this day. And it's one of those things that's really personal to us. So like yourself, I've got a couple of siblings. I'm sure we all kind of feel it in our different ways.
Yeah.
It's not to say one feels it less or feels it more, but it's so personal and unique.
It's so personal. And, you know, I'm his only daughter. We're super, super close. I'm the baby of the family. And, you know, I think as a woman, when you don't have that protector, like my dad, he was very like streetwise. He was a bit of a hothead as well at times. Like,
was your daddy born here or born in Jamaica?
He was, well, actually, he's from Manchester.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was raised in a place called Moss Side.
He looked like he was a sweet boy as well. It looked like he was good. Because your mummy is very beautiful. For anybody, Keisha's mum is stunning.
Thank you.
But your dad looks like a good looking boy as well.
My dad was born and raised in Moss Side, Manchester.
Nice.
So you already know what time it is.
Yeah.
And so to not have that sort of like protection and that force, that's a lot to adjust to. It's not an easy thing, you know?
And this is a question, because it's so fresh, and I feel I don't want to overstep the mark asking you the questions as well. Did you feel like a physical impact as well as because I felt, okay, for me, there was the emotional, the actual loss, but I felt like a physical feeling. Like I was always walking around like I'd forgotten something. And then I started to understand that thing was that protection that I had from my dad. It's such a weird thing and hard to articulate to people as well.
No, definitely. Especially like my dad didn't even like to see me cry. And actually, do you know, my dad's never smacked me. He's never even told me off. Like, so we were super, like, honestly, so to go through that and even to be that upset and then not be able to pick up the phone and call him and he'd go, what's wrong, baby? What's wrong? Like, it was a whole, you know, and like you said, physical pain, like waking up brokenhearted. But I never thought that I would actually see a day when I wake up and I didn't feel that heavy. So I will say to anyone out there, you know, if you're going through if you've lost a parent or someone close to you, that I mean, it's so early for me to give advice, but I will say that the pain of the first couple of weeks does get less.
It's like it's there, but you find ways to function and you find ways to be.
I'm not looking at videos though. Videos I can't do. Pictures I can't do.
And you have to be real with yourself. And it can be, let's be real, it can be a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So whether it's 1 day, 1 week, 1 decade, it can have an impact. And you kind of just deal with things as and when they come.
Sure.
And I think the people around you have to be aware of that as well. I think.
I've got such an incredible, you know, support system. And thankfully, I wasn't by myself when I got the news. And I literally hit the floor and my friends were like, you know, picking me up off the floor. I had like to do like I think it was like a PCR test or something. They were taking the test, they were doing the test for me and they really rallied around. And I thank God for that because you know what, I didn't have that support system maybe even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and that's from my own ignorance, trying to like maybe even hold on to people that didn't need to be there. So I'm super, super grateful. Your tribe is everything.
It really is. Your tribe can bring you forward as well. And your tribe can hold you back. Can we speak about that? Because it's like if you have the wrong people around you, they can be there at like if it's the party or if you've got like lunch or whatever. But when you're just trying to build or you're trying to do something, they can be that person planting the seed of doubt. And then you can have the other person who's got faith in you and be like, you know, I'll just let her do her thing.
And you know what? When you go through hard times, that's really when you see like what's what. There's like a scripture that says, adversity, there's like a brother is born out of adversity. And I feel like through the hard times that I've had, that's when I've met the most amazing people.
Yeah.
Like even when I met you on holiday, I went on that holiday because I was going through the most craziest time of my life. So that holiday was like my, you know, moment of just like, I just want to sit on a beach and read. Like I'm having a nightmare, I'm having a breakdown. And then I meet you.
That was so nice. And can I be honest, like I knew who you were, but I wouldn't just approach you and be like, oh, you Keisha from the Sugababes. Like, it was just really odd. But I just like how it was just like a natural thing and we just started talking because we met in Jamaica of all places and not London. And we've been firm friends ever since. But I think at the time, and I don't mind, I'm very, very private, like extremely private. Like I'm just about going to tell you that my name's Emma. But at the same time, I'm quite open. And I think one of the things that we bonded on was that waste guy that I was dating at the time.
Yeah, because we were both dating waste people.
Basically. Yeah. And there was you and there was Keisha in Toronto. And you should see him now. He's actually got midlife crisis plaques.
Oh, no, not midlife crisis.
Yeah, he does.
Oh,
he does. It's really awkward.
Always the way.
Yeah. So I don't know what I want to tell you and what I don't want to tell you, but let's just put it this way. That person wasn't for me, but there's no regrets at the end of the day. Like I had so many blessings on that trip. and on that holiday in terms of who I met, what we got to do, the fun we had.
It was so much
the
fun.
memories.
Yeah.
And I think it was a really good time as well, because people can kind of gaslight you to not let you know. So basically, I don't want to say too much, but I was just living my life and doing what I needed to do, but that person wasn't necessarily in a happy place. So they probably projected onto me that they weren't, you know, in a good place.
That's fair enough to say.
Yeah. And you guys gave me good advice. And I think it is safe to say, like 5 years later, that he's still in that place, hence the struggle plats. It's really
I cannot
bad.
with you in this struggle.
I'm going to show you a picture if I can find it.
Please do. And show me your before and after.
I will.
My thing is, the biggest thing for me is that, like, I'm sorry, but
Just say it, it's fine.
I'm just thinking the association of it all. It's like, you know, when someone goes, oh yeah, your ex. It's just like, if he's going to give me struggle plats, he definitely isn't my ex. You at least want to be like, you know, he looks half decent. For me.
It's awful. And then, it just had so, like, a problem. Yeah, I will, I promise you. He had so much, like, to say about what I was doing. And then it was a problem. But then after the fact, then everything's fine. And you'll find him on my Instagram liking, messaging. I just don't respond, because it is what it is, but it's life and what you go through.
Forgive and
I have
move
kind
on.
of overshared there for somebody that is quite private, but it's one of the ways that we got to know each other, because we're just like real friends, and like relationships, finding who you are. And I've had like a lot of change in recent years, and a lot of my friends have too, and we've just all supported each other in all the different things, good, bad and indifferent, of everything that's been going on. Yeah. Keish, I'm going to wrap things up.
Yes.
But you are performing with the Sugababes.
Yes.
You are acting.
Yes.
You're following certain projects, which we'll hear about as and when they come about.
I'm YouTubing too.
You're YouTubing. And I'm actually on your YouTube as well.
Yeah, we did a birthday vlog
a year ago
in pajamas.
And that's where you tried to mug me off and tried to get me... Were you trying to set me up with some old... No, you weren't. I was just telling people about when you tried to set me up with that.
I feel like Emma needs to be with a mature man.
Yeah, but what is mature? I'm 40. He can't be decrepit.
Do you know what? Someone who's 50 can look
personality.
really, really young these days. I know 50 sounds old, but do you know what? When we look at our passports, Emma, like, that is the age group that we're swimming in now. We may not feel it, but that is.
I'm not ticking that box.
No.
I'm not ticking that box just yet. But yeah, so... You've got your vlog.
Yeah.
Has that been really therapeutic as well?
Oh, 100%. It's been another outlet. You know, I'm not really, believe it or not, I don't really like social media and what it does and the pressure it puts on people, but I do like the fact that you get to voice your opinion. And for too long, I just felt like there was a narrative about my character, and I wasn't able to say anything. So now I'm just like, oh, okay, so I get to just be me, and then, you know, people can kind of get to know me that way. So yeah,
cool,
I love it.
Cool. And I think there's something that I'll say about all the people in your circle, and tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Everybody is very, like myself, everybody's very private, but they're quite open at the same time. So if you ask us a question, we'll tell you. But generally, we're not just going to divulge information.
Yeah,
but the bits that you have kind of told us on the vlog, you've been really open and honest. Like when I go on there, I saw the bits where you talked about like your grieving process with your daddy, you know? That's really going to help somebody that's going through that, because it's hard to articulate how we feel.
Yeah, and that's another thing as well. I've had to really separate, because now everything is like about popularity and likes and everything else. I really had to like dig deep and go, listen, I know you've achieved a lot, and I know this is, because I have, if I'm being honest, I've struggled with, you know, it has to be perfect, or it has to be this, you know.
We put that on ourselves though.
Yeah.
More than anybody else.
We do. So for me, it's about me giving back and about me touching other people's lives. And that's really mainly what that vlog about my dad was about, hoping that it helped someone for sure.
Yeah, it was really beautiful, Keish. And you will have the links on the socials. It was beautiful. I watched that again recently this week. I watched it at the time because I follow you as well. I subscribe.
Thank you.
I think it's really, really honest in terms of how you feel.
Thank you.
And in terms of like the emotions. But, you know, there are different things that you talk about on your vlog as well, like your experiences and like things, activities that you're taking on as well. So I think for me, that's probably where we get to see the Keisha more so that I know. Because social media, Instagram only shows you like a snapshot.
Basically.
Snapshot. I can't even speak properly. But
there's no personality on there really.
No.
She's just like...
Perception,
for sure.
Yeah, whereas we actually get to see and hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, Keish, question. So you guys, you're still performing, you're acting, you're vlogging, you're very much active, you know, in your career. But what would you say to somebody that is coming up? in their career or would like to pursue a similar path as yourself?
I guess I would say it really just starts with sort of like, this is called the entertainment business, but literally it should be called the business of entertainment, because you got to learn that first before anything. I think that...
Elaborate, please. What do you mean?
Yeah, because basically most people who are creatives, they go into it because of the creative process. But actually, if the business is off, the creative, you can't even do the creative process. And that's the biggest thing that I think I've learned through my career. And also just like surrounding yourself with people who are honest and, you know, who actually believe in you. Because people want to ride the train all the time. Like when you're doing well, they're there, but actually they are only there when things are like high. But what about those who come along when things are in the gutter, basically? You need people who believe in you as a person, so that when you don't even believe in yourself, they are there as that voice of reason. So I feel like choosing the right and doing it for the right reasons. Having a plan is key as well, because nothing lasts forever, and it's so important that you have you have that sort of figured out straight away in your mind. Okay, this is my plan, whether it be to buy a house.
When you say like a plan, do you mean like a vision board? Do you mean like other revenue streams? Do you mean like, what do you mean?
All of the above. Like having a plan, knowing that, okay, I'm going to put this album out, but because you know the business behind it, you know that if this album does well, you're expected to do another, that's fine. But if it doesn't, you know, they say that your career is over. So let's just say the industry, the labels don't sign you. What is your plan? And you have to be able to have such a belief in yourself outside of that, outside of the industry. And also just make sure that you're not being ripped off. And, you know, ask questions, find out who people are. I think the scariest thing about the music industry in general is that it's a bit of a boys' club. Like you can't just fire your management, because firing your management...
Tell us about that, please. What do you mean?
You can't... Say, for example, something inappropriate is going on, you know, with your management or whatever. You can't just say, I want to get rid of my management.
Why?
Because your label and them have an understanding.
Got you.
So actually, if lawyers, accountants, and managers outlive the artists. There are managers who have been in there since like the 70s, the 80s, and artists, the shelf life is not very long, even the most successful. And so therefore, who are they going to be loyal to?
That's right.
So you
because
have to
it goes back to what you said. As an artist, you need to be aware of the art and the business. In anything that you do.
The business is way more important. I think that's in
every creative field. So you know that I make carnival costumes as well, like one of my secondary things. You need to have an understanding of how like things work in terms of like the business as well as like what you create. It just doesn't work otherwise.
Yeah, but that's with trial and error, I think.
100%.
And you know, people...
And we make mistakes are a part of the process.
Absolutely.
So if I press the wrong button, just smile. But it's true though, Keish.
Yeah.
Okay, and can I be more specific? You are sat in a black-owned radio station. And a block of businesses that are black-owned. You are a black artist. I keep saying it on your behalf. You are very much a proud black woman as well. And just being your friend, that's how you speak. With all of that said, what would you say to young black people, male or female, that are coming up in the industry? Bear in mind what you just said as well. Is there anything you would say differently to them, or would it be the same advice?
Same.
Yeah?
Same. Confidence is key. Knowing who you are is key. Having a plan is key. Just the plan of like your life structure and, you know, I would literally just say the same thing. Just learn what, you know, it's not necessarily about what you enjoy and your passion. It's about the two together. Find a really good balance between understanding what it is and and your passion.
Understand. So we know that there can be more challenges and tribulations being a black person in the industry, but the advice is still the same, essentially. It's your passion. Push your passion.
I try not to, because for me, I feel like if I was so aware of the struggles or what is perceived struggles as a black person, I don't know whether I would have gotten to where I was.
I like this. This is real talk, right?
Yeah.
Because it can hinder you as well if you've got too much awareness of it.
I'm not interested.
Sometimes you need to be oblivious and just go
100%. Listen, that's the reason why with the colorism conversation, even when we did it on the documentary, like for me, like I was mostly shocked at the fact that, wow, like how did you even survive it, like your confidence? Because since I was a kid, no one can tell me that I wasn't brown and delicious.
I just felt,
course. And even in the group, you know, I definitely feel like
and my friends are always perving on you, and it's just because some of them are crazy that I don't tell you. It's actually just awkward. Shout out to Ryan Skillet.
Oh, hilarious. Yeah. Oh God, no. I'm embarrassed now, but
no, it's all right.
Yeah, so I think that, you know, take pride and ownership of your blackness.
I love
know that you are dope and everything else, but don't subscribe to some of the it's not like you're ignoring the elephant in the room that happens.
We come from the same place, like in terms of how we think,
but
so
yeah,
just say
man,
what you think, Bob.
just like, you know, you don't
like me. See, at night I watch the sky. I take another breath. I smoke my new boy to the butt like it's the last left. Just me and you evading enemies. Let you get my last shot of Hennessy. Ain't never had a friend like me. Remember memories so vividly. Was once a little dust kicker, now becomes a G. Who can I call when they all fail? Collect calls to my dogs from the county jail. Sending me mail, heard the blocks in the same shape. Ain't nothing changed, slanging at the same place. The same face is supposed to always hate our foes. This lifestyle is forever, watch the game unfold. Shedding crocodile tears, just got life plus. And you wonder if these white judges like us. Just stay strong, we'll appeal. You'll be free, down with you to the very end. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. I'm down for you, so ride with me. My enemies, your enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows where we'll be. My enemies, your enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. I'm down for you, so ride with me. My enemies, your enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows where we'll be. My enemies, your enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. How can I be blamed? Forgive me, Lord, I'm insane. In search of fame, won't hurt to change. Following the footsteps of past dealers. Equipped with ski masks, no witnesses, we blast squillers. Maybe now they feel us in this act of war. More casualties, no survivors. Any man that defies quickly dies. Cause we ride us in my quest for chips. We wear vests equipped with automatic fire. We reply when my enemies trip. Me and you against the nation. Whispering while we conversating. Cause died over information. How much more can we take? Expect us all to break. The world ain't ready for us yet, so let's make Clinton pay. They never wanted us to make it. Everything that we possess, we had to fight and take it. I think the president is smoking, bumping this beat, making a living out my misery. Till they got a friend like me. I'm down for you, so ride with me. My enemies, your enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows where we'll be. My enemies, your enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. I'm down for you, so ride with me. My enemies, your enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Nobody knows where we'll be. My enemies, your enemies. Cause you ain't never had a friend like me. Promise to visit. I know it's rough in your cell. Receiving mail to the county. Feel me? And God said he should his one begotten son to lead the wild into the ways of the man. Follow me. Eat my flesh of my flesh. Come with me. Hail Mary, run quick, see. What do we have here now? Ride or die. La 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 la. I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Revenge is like the sweetest joy next to getting. Picture paragraphs unloaded, wise words being quoted. Beat the weakness in the rap game and sold it. Bow down, pray to God, hoping that he's listening. See it coming for me, my diamonds when they glisten. Now pay attention, rest in peace, Father. I'm a ghost, these killing fields. Hail Mary, catch me if I go. Let's go deep inside the solitary mind of a madman. Screams in the dark, evil lurks, enemies see me flee. Activate my hate, let it break till I'm flaming. Set trip, empty out my. Never stop to aim. Some say the game is all corrupted. Lucky if we bust out. Plus, mama told me never stop until I bust it.
Guys, welcome back. So if you've just been watching, you would have seen that we had Keisha Buchanan of the Sugababes. She was here with us today. It's such a really interesting conversation, just being like a black woman. Our experiences can be very different and very varied, but we obviously still are impacted by our experience, by our colour. And it was really good to just hear what she had to say and still hear that the guys are performing and what they're doing. So as we came back, following the interview, we had Round Round by the Sugababes and we had Push the Button, both of which were one of their 6 top, I want to say they were number 1 singles. I think they were both number 1 singles. And then because this is the Dominican Emz Show and these people let me do whatever I like, I unnecessarily played 2 Tupac songs for you because I can do, and nobody's actually going to stop me. And those were Never Had a Friend Like Me by the Don, the legend Tupac, and then we were followed by Hail Mary. So before we had the ad breaks at the top of the hour and our interview with Keisha, we just touched on some news. And if I just recap in terms of some of the news that we've had this week, in UK news, Omicron has been a top story this week. Unfortunately, COVID, Delta, Omicron has been one of the top stories. There's been a lot of uncertainty in terms of the reporting, the increased numbers that we're seeing. And we saw the address to the nation by Boris Johnson this week, where the nation was informed that the two doses for those people that have been vaccinated isn't enough, and that's by your leader Peppa Pig, aka Boris Johnson. So also in news this week, we saw that undercover reporters were filming in the Hermes depot, and they were able to see and show us what many of us knew already, that these people will take the mickey with your packages. So you go and, you go and boohoo, you go on, spending all money you haven't got, and then you're just going spending your money. And then some man's just kicking all your packages around. He's all kicking your packages around like he's Alan Shearer. But yeah, if you've ever wondered why you didn't get your Hermes packages, if you watched the documentary and some of the footage that's been online, you will see why you haven't got your footage. And in this week as well, in other UK news, we have seen that Lewis Hamilton received his knighthood for the Queen, but also he's had quite a topsy-turvy week. And in this week, we saw that the same week that he got his knighthood, he also was met by a defeat by Max Verstappen, if I pronounce that correctly, at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. And so many of us are fans of Lewis Hamilton, not just because of what he does on the track, but what he does off the track as well. He is somebody that's captured a lot of people's hearts in terms of his personality, but also just by consistency. The man has proven that he should be and is the number one. So whether he's physically won or not, he still is the champion to many of us. And in international news, we saw sadly the loss of Bell Hooks. For anybody that's not familiar, please do go and do some research. But Bell Hooks was a celebrated author, feminist and activist, a black female activist who sadly passed away at the age of 69 this week. And last but not least, because I always like to touch on Caribbean news, if you watch this show, each and every week, you're going to see Caribbean news. And in this week, we saw that St. Lucia announced that they have a Vax Mass. For anybody that's not familiar with Carnival, Vaxxed Mass is vaccination mass. So if you have been double vaccinated, then you can be a part of St. Lucia Carnival 2022. So if you've been missing out on Carnival for the last 2 years, like a lot of us have, if you know me, that you know that I play Carnival at least 2-3 times every single year. I'm hurting right now, but yeah, it's a big decision. And the Cabinet of Ministers in St. Lucia has decided, after several consultations, that Carnival 2022 will be hosted and dubbed Vax Mass. So yeah, guys, if you've been vaccinated, then I would say that is definitely an option for you. If you are hesitant, then it's again purely your decision, purely your choice. But just to make you aware that Vax Mass, as it stands today, is currently being penned to still carry on. And another thing that I would like to do on this show going forward each and every week is advocate. And I can't say this enough, because you know anything about me, I'm all about black culture, black events, black products. And so I just wanted to highlight this week that there are two things happening. So if you were looking for somewhere to go on Boxing Day, the 26th of December, which is a Sunday, and that is the day after Christmas Day for anybody that's been born in a barn, at the Windrush Bar in Stoke Newington, 184 Stoke Newington High Street, 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. you have Paddy Sa, and that is going to be a fete. It's going to be Boyo, Soca, Denery, Compa, you name it, the guys will be playing it, and that is scheduled to happen on that day. Obviously things are changing every day with COVID and Omicron, so we will keep you posted if things change. We do ask, please, for anybody that's going out today, anybody that's going out next week, please just be safe, follow the COVID guidance, follow COVID regulations, be safe, and have a merry Christmas. And last but not least, you have in Blue Borough Culture Market, which I believe is in Lewisham, is a market to support a variety of black businesses to showcase their products and services in South East London. Their aim is to support local entrepreneurs and businesses of Caribbean and African descent, and tickets are free via website BB Culture Market. That is happening today, and I'm going to say it again, that's the BB B Culture Market, and it stands for Black Business Culture Market. It's geared towards us, whether you're British born or from Africa or the Caribbean, entrepreneurs, businesses. They want you to showcase what you're doing and for people to be familiar with you. So tickets are available, they're free, and it's literally happening today, Saturday the 18th. Please visit their website, bbculturemarket.co.uk, and you can also find them on Instagram. So guys, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. We are going to close out the show. Thank you for bearing with me. It has been fun. I am very honest and very transparent that I'm learning every single day that I am here. So I do things because I'm learning. I might press the wrong button, but I'm here. And I want to thank everybody that's participated, from Remy to Keisha to Fion, everybody that's chatted in the groups. I'm sorry that I didn't get to read out all of your messages today. I will do better at that, but I want to say thank you. Coming up next, we have Sims with the Saturday Vibe, and I want to say thank you to each and every person that's joined us today. We're going to close out with some good soca.
Show there. Gang Aleyo, mauvais temps, nous à béton. Jeune femme, ça la mauvais. Meuf les choquer. Jeune femme, mais ça ouvre les mains. Amitana, wait pour moi. Akupina, stay there for me too. I know you want me too. When I put it on you, you don't know I want to. My girl, me say a ring a rosy. My girl, you look rosy, tasty like a rosy. My girl, you amaze me now. Stay there for me too. I know you want me too. When I put it on you, you don't know I want to. Chokesa, mi leche la mutesa, suni mal la fotesa. Moi c'est un professor, même pas pièce instigator. Move control alligator, and come sit and between tower. Every minute of the hour, you know is you I rather. Dans mes allées journaux pour me choquer. Même si uka oui me eka coupi me ka choquer. You know that is my specialty, moving choke. And from you rest the big thing on me. Mess up, choke, man. Chokesa, amitana, chokesa, wait pour moi, chokesa, akupina, chokesa, stay there for me too. Chokesa, I know you want me too. Chokesa, when I put it on you, chokesa, you don't know I want to. Chokesa, my girl, me say a ring a rosy. My girl, you look rosy, tasty like a roti. My girl, you amaze me now. Stay there for me too. I know you want me too. When I put it on you, you don't know I want to. Show them. Mauvais temps. SOS, ça là danger.
Ma folle. Est-ce que vous êtes prêts? Est-ce que vous êtes vraiment prêts? D'accord. Yeah. Big girls don't break it. Penchez-vous. Main à genoux. Est-ce que vous êtes prêts? 1, 2, 3, 4. Beaucoup vous avez là. Shake it fast for me. Beaucoup tout à la. Go shake it up for me. Beaucoup vous avez là. C'est que la vie pour moi. Beaucoup tout à la. Go shake it up for me. Allez. Shake it, allez. Move it, allez. Shake it, allez. Move it, allez. Chez vous. Main à genoux. Est-ce que vous êtes prêts? Est-ce que vous êtes encore prêts? She winding up and over. She winding up and over. She rolling up, she bumper. She rolling up, she bumper. She was like crazy. She have all kind of maneuver. She not even drunk, she's sober. Boy, I said the girl, them getting on bad. Then what that problem is a problem. So anyway, them see the down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beaucoup vous avez là. Shake it fast for me.
4,000. And the girl them boss. Tell them we ready for mass. I say we frost. How we are me? So let we dance. what I mean. I know you say that you have a man, but that ain't really no scene. Just step on it over wrong till you back in, never know what you mean.
You're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio. iLive Radio.
This is Lisa Banton, and you're listening to iLive Radio, changing the way you listen to radio.